The ones I have in my ears are the Shure ones that are like $200. They go in your earbuds. They're okay, but for comfortability and audio's sake, to be honest, nothing sounds better than the ones you put like the cans on your outside of your head there. All right, let's do a pre-show here. This is the Rants of Izzo on Spreely TV. Good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing great. It's a scorcher out here today. It's friggin' 100 degrees out here in the Chicago area. And as soon as the show's over, I'm getting naked. All right, guys, what is Spreely? Let's take a look at this for a second for those who are always wondering, what's this Spreely you keep talking about? Because we got to do house cleaning. So it is a media company, Spreely. Speak freely. Been around for about a decade, dude. I started with them in 2017-ish. So it's a better part of a decade. And they've got everything from news, as you can see as I click here for those who are watching. Oh, Don Lemon's face. Eat my ass. They've got the shows, Spreely TV, where you can watch us live every Monday through Friday at noon Central and 12 or 1 Eastern. Spreely Clips. Like if you want to go watch awesome content by Report and Opine, Eric Butler, the gentleman who's to my left today, co-pilots with me on Tuesday. You look at that. Look, there's Eric right there. See right there. If you want to go and you want to get swag, podcasts, other awesome stuff, go to Spreely.com. There's an awesome social media platform here as well too, where say what you want, speak freely. It's like a Facebook. It's kind of awesome and it's great and it's free speech and it's uncensored. Eric, would you tell everybody about this great damn book that you have too? Because that's a show sponsor for today.
Yeah, New York City 2020. Obviously, it's right behind me. Hopefully, you can see that. It is an 8.5 by 11, 260-page full-color book of photographs, mostly photographs, documenting the demise of New York City. Of course, it only gets better with age. I thought it was really bad then. I didn't set out to make a book, but it turned out to become a book. And unfortunately, New York City has only gotten worse since then. But buy this book before it starts getting taught in history classes all over the place.
Don't forget
Amazon.com.
Yeah, don't forget as well too. I think maybe I should not have that picture up when I share the screen. Don't forget, piratecigar.com is always a sponsor of the show. You have the Izzo Maduro on there. It's obviously my cigar. I love it. It's fantastic. If you're like speaking to somebody's like, man, I want to try cigars. I don't know what to do. How do I do this? Number one, if you get the Izzo and you type in code IZZO, you're going to get a discount on it. But look at this number here, 888-208-1680, and that's piratecigar.com. Talk to Jen, and she's going to wind up helping you out, like trying to pick something good for you, kind of educating you about cigars. She's very, very, very passionate about it. And they've got Darkwater Alley is opening, which will be great. Coffee and cigars and like ambiance and lounge. And maybe we'll do a live remote show from there. All right, so that's that. Go to Spreely. Remember, we need to grow because of you. That's the only way any of us grow. So if you really like what I do, if you like what Eric does, then buy the book. Support the show, share Eric's content, share my content, talk to your friends about it, go piss people off at Thanksgiving, which is coming up in a couple of months, and we'll all get along fine.
Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on the show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go.
Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention. This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Good afternoon. This is the Rants of Izzo Show here, broadcasting from the most awesomest, tallest, deepest, darkest, your mom's favorite phallic-looking building out here in Chicago. Maybe not. And it's hot out here. It's a damn scorcher day today. It's 100 degrees. Everybody stay very, very healthy and safe out there, as you will. Eric Butler from Report No Pine sitting in with me today. Love it. Appreciate it. How the hell are you? You doing good today?
Sensational, bro. And it's funny that you bring up how hot it's getting in the Chicago area, because it's finally cooling off in the Houston area. I mean, It's been over 100 degrees for at least 3 weeks, probably longer. Of course, we had the storm. But now it's like 90 degrees, and it's a total relief. So I don't know if that means anything at all. But
did you have a transition when you left California? Like, was it a big switch for you to be like, oh my God, it's hot out here?
Well, no, because I was only in California for a little bit. Like, when I left California originally, I went straight to New York, and it was beautiful. The first handful of years in New York were absolutely amazing. I'm glad I did it, but then it all completely collapsed. And I also noticed, side note, I'm remembering what you said in the intro there. Thanksgiving, I mean, the time is just flying by. I don't know if that just, comes with age or whatever. Right? Remember when you were a kid and like my dad or my mom would be like, just, I'm going to sleep for another 30 minutes. And that felt like an eternity. But now a year goes by in the blink of an eye. But you're talking about Thanksgiving, which is right around the corner. And by that time, are we supposed to know, well, who the president is and what's happening come Thanksgiving?
Yeah, by then, because November 5th is election day.
But it's going to take 3 weeks. It's going to take 2 weeks. So we have to count the votes and all this.
Do you trust that there's going to be a valid process, or you have a feeling that, it's going to hit November 5th for the November 6th? They're just going to pull some shit again? Because I'm saying it right now. Kamala Harris is going to win. That's what I'm saying. And I don't want it to. I kind of, the asshole in me wants it to win because I want America to go to a third world country so I could just start brawling already. But I think they're going to cheat her in. I really do.
Yes. I mean, they are going. Look, bro, it's obvious. I'm preaching to the choir here. But if this were even remotely about policy positions, it wouldn't even be a conversation. It would not even be a conversation. But because we live in this backwards, bizarro clown world, it's a close race. No, it's not. It really isn't. Like, she didn't even make it past Poot Booty Juice in 2020. But now they did a complete 180 and you're just supposed to buy it. So yes, this will only come down to, I've said it 100 times. This is not about, who has the better policy positions and who's, better for the country. This is only about how strong the media and Democratic, but I repeat myself, how strong that machine has become.
I wanted to ask you, because I didn't talk about it yet. I never really it's not that I don't like RFK. I'm just indifferent with him. Right. And one of my biggest things is people keep talking about you need the type of personality and demeanor to run the nation. And that was Obama. I fell into the Obama trap in 2008, where I was like, this man. Now, I didn't vote. I never voted in any election until Trump. And I always had said that my reason being is that I'm not educated enough in how the ongoings are. So it's not fair that it's a throwaway vote. Just because if I like somebody, I always talk about how I thought Mitt Romney looked presidential. So I was going to vote for Mitt Romney just because he looked presidential. And that's like irresponsible as all hell. And anyways.
But it's even more responsible, because I think there's a lot of people out there that will vote and not even think twice about how stupid.
That's where I'm asking. So Obama had me because he's the second greatest orator in our lifetime's history, Adolf Hitler being the first, right? Any man who can captivate a country into vilifying him, and we've talked about this at length, so I'm not opening up this debate, into exterminating a race, if that's what it was, and he's the greatest orator in the history of the world. When it comes down to RFK Jr., I listen to Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's like, I like him, I support him, he's got the right temperament, and I'm like, that doesn't get the job done. And that's honestly why America is in the horrible position that it is, because we've adopted a soft velvet glove approach at everything. My generation was, crack the whip and toughen the fuck up. And if you don't like it, get out. And this generation seems to be like, we need to be made feel special, or we need the safe space at work. I didn't like some of his past videos. Like I watched his positions on guns, and it didn't seem like he was very pro Second Amendment. And I was very much, everyone likes him just because he's anti-vaccine, which if you really watch, he's really not. But I watched his entire speech where he said he was suspending his campaign, I'm going to tell you, man, I don't believe any politician, none, and that includes Trump. Holy shit, if that man is who he says he is, I wish he was a little bit younger because I would support his run in 2024 or 2028. His whole speech, I was captivated. I listened to it. I was impressed. I was like, this guy, this is amazing. So I don't know if you listened to his speech or not, or if you've had any opinion on him. I want to start there. And then my part 2 question is, what do you think of his support now going to Trump?
Yeah, well, this is probably the most shallow thing. Well, no, I say a lot of shallow things, I guess, but I've said this for months, so I'm not going to flip flop on it. I'm sorry. He sounds like he's going to die. And I don't know, this is really conspiratorial as well, or maybe it's not conspiratorial. I don't know. But when you look at his sisters, those weirdo flip-flopping family members, who I can understand, because I think they know exactly what the machine is capable of doing, but they obviously go out on TV and say, because they can't stand RFK Jr. They go public. It's one thing to like have a disagreement publicly. It's one thing to discuss your differences with your family, but it's another thing to go on TV, to go circle back Psaki and literally disown RFK Jr. But I said all that to say they kind of sound alike, and I don't know if that's an inbreeding thing or
yeah, dude. Like you brought that up before, and I didn't notice that. Like, you're the one who said that. I'm like, holy shit, this is what you're referring to. I don't even know. Like, the Kennedys, I knew of the Kennedys very big when I was a kid because they were Camelot, right? Especially the 60s and the 70s, and after obviously the deaths and all this, but they were still unbelievably famous. And the one thing it always brought up is, like, with my dad, is you never hear RFK Jr. never talk. He always talks about his dad and his uncles. He never talks about JFK Jr. Never. And that's kind of weird, but this is what his own sister had to say.
I think this is really the stakes this November couldn't be higher, which is exactly why my whole family will be fighting so hard to reelect Kamala Harris and Coach Waltz, who've been champions for the values that my family has fought for years. Donald Trump is the polar opposite. He's a threat to the most basic freedoms that are core to who we are as Americans, the right for women to control our bodies, the right to live in communities safe from gun violence, to love who you love. And I think if my dad were alive today, the real Robert Kennedy would have detested almost everything Donald Trump represents. His lying, his selfishness, his rage, his cynicism, hatred, racism, fascist sympathies, deliberate misinformation about vaccines, criminal felony convictions. Daddy was the Attorney General of the United States. His rape of E. Jean Carroll, his contempt for the poor and suffering, for ethics, democracy, healing, his cruel sneering at human rights for suffering people in America.
Dude, she just goes on and on and on because fucking Psaki lets her. But it's like,
and she got all the talking points.
Dude, right. Go ahead.
No, it's so despicable to watch, right? Like, and I said this on my Instagram the other day. I should probably maybe do a little longer form video, but you guys, or when I say you guys, whatever, this establishment, this regime, machine, whatever you want to call it, like, leave us the hell alone. You got it. You did it. You've been doing this for decades. You captured everything. All of the weirdo Gen Z TikTokers, and I know a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but this Star Wars guy, I never saw Star Wars. Wasn't my thing. I didn't really care. I understand that it's all disgusting and it's all a weird agenda, but I didn't care about that until you captured Bunk Moreland from The Wire, till you captured Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld, things that I actually enjoyed when I was growing up, and now you have captured all that. It's completely disgusting, and just the one time, okay, maybe not the one time, but a slim minority of people, I should say, you know what? We're not on board with this agenda. It's Kanye West. and what they lambast him. They talk about his dead mother and say she would not be proud of him for going to the White House in a red hat. But you guys have captured 98% of everything else, including RFK's own family. And then his wife, Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Cheryl Hines, she says, oh, well, I don't like it. But what do you...
Dude, did you see where she said she was interviewed? Huh? She was interviewed. And that was the one thing that kind of did turn me off again about him.
Sheryl, you're talking about.
Right, his wife from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
They're sitting side by side, her and RFK Jr., and she says, the interviewer asks, what about if you get a cabinet position? And she goes, well, I think that Bobby knows how I feel about that. And he doesn't say a word. And I'm like, great. So if we elected you, is that how you're going to run the fucking country? You let your wife tell you what to do? So yeah,
and why don't you tell us a little bit how you feel about it? You don't have to go in super in detail, but the only thing is, I don't like him. When that's putting it nicely, obviously. So tell us a little bit why you think this doesn't work. Is because maybe I mean, who knows what these people are getting into? And maybe this is a little bit of an aside, but I was watching some old, 70s, like before my time, crime documentaries and stuff. And clearly the world has changed so much, right? Like, so I was watching some story about a woman who was kidnapped while she was hitchhiking. And I'm thinking in my head, I guess hitchhiking was popular in the 70s or 60s or whatever. But that never crossed my mind. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to hitchhike across California. Obviously not. So now it is clear that you can't even really do that. So I guess my point is, why don't you explain what you don't like? Why don't you explain what has changed? Why don't you explain how a man who was arguably one of the most popular figures on television for 10 or 15 years is now just, oh, well, I think he knows how I feel. Why don't you tell us about it, lady?
What kills me is his sister. Like I don't talk politics. I talk politics with my dad. That's it. And I will never argue with him because that man will fucking smoke me. And I keep telling him he needs to retire and he needs a co-host with me. But then it'll be the fucking his show and that'll be a different story entirely. But when it comes to my sisters, like all of them to some degree or at one time or another have, they're I think I'm discovering now they're a little bit more libertarian, but they lean liberal. Or more like classical liberal. And like Kennedy was talking about his father and his uncle back from the 60s. My other sister is starting to get more conservative because she's starting to watch, she'll go on and watch CNN and Fox and see how they change the stories. And I'm like, I've been telling you this for years. But none of them ever denounced me when I ran for office. I ran for sheriff and I was the same views, same way. None of them did this. They were attacked. It was other cops. I had other cops and other retired cops who did not want me to run, and they would make Facebook pages about me, and they would try to air dirty laundry, and they would drag my sisters into this stuff. Like my one sister had a kid, and she wasn't married, so he's got a little bastard niece, and blah blah blah. And my sisters, they never publicly denounced. They could have easily just, he's doing his thing. I want nothing to do with him. You had RFK Jr.'s sister. That you put party before family. It's like when you bring up about the inbreeding, I do not think you're inaccurate. I actually think they've got some kind of like covenant loyalty, party before family. And if they could, how do we know? Because it wasn't RFK's granddaughter died. His daughter and his granddaughter died 2-3 years ago while on a boat, like a regular rowboat. They were like chasing a soccer ball or something. I have to look it up.
I vaguely remember that.
Right? How do we know?
I would have forgotten. it, and you just brought it up, and now I'm like, it's kind of jogging my memory.
How do we not know that his family didn't arrange that shit? What, you're running for president? We're going to remind you why you shouldn't.
And I think that's happened a couple times. Look, don't quote me on this, but there was another politician whose daughter was killed in a car crash after he decided to come out against the Democratic Party or something. That was like 2020 or maybe even a little bit before, like at the end of the Trump era. So I don't have the facts on that, so I don't really want to speak on it, but they do know firsthand how powerful that machine can be. And what's also weird is that the media is running all these stories. Oh, RFK Jr. was a coke dealer in college or something. But it's like, you guys love drugs. Like, what I don't understand the problem. And then, California, they want to clean up. Gavin Newsom wants to clean up, and London Breed wants to clean up, and Mayor Shangtao want to clean up. And now they have a little tiny handful of protesters that are saying, no, don't clean up. We need to let these homeless people fester under the bridge. But it's like, those are the same people that gave you the directions to be okay with this. So why are you now putting up a fight, but you weren't putting up a fight early? I mean, this is all very strange. You really should just obey, but that's how deep the brainwashing goes. I mean, I guess bring it full circle. They've gotten so deep in that they have activated family members against their own, right? Think about, there's millions of people, I'm sure, in the country who've had, family arguments over Donald Trump. But that's one thing. It's another thing to have a huge public denouncing on, Jen Psaki. She goes for 3 minutes naming every single talking point, almost like she's probably got a teleprompter, or she got some notes or bullet points or something on there, because there's just no other way. And it's like, are we to believe for one split second, and I realize I'm preaching to the choir here, but are we really to believe that MSNBC and even CNN, I mean, all of them, even Fox News, right, to a degree, that they're not just in the pocket for the establishment? Obviously, Fox News to a lesser degree, they're not crazy hardcore Democrats, but they're still all in for the establishment. And I really have I actually hate the establishment, but I get it. They have a job to do. But why are we pretending like we're just shooting it down the middle? I watched the local news out of the Bay Area, and they say the craziest left-wing things as though it's just regular. Like, oh, well, our brave, handsome Governor Gavin Newsom is keeping the guns out of the, keeping kids safe from guns. And it's like, dude, you guys don't even, do you realize? Are you completely stupid, or do you know exactly what's going on and you have a job to do, which almost makes it worse?
I watch the influencers on Twitter X, and I watch the two twins Cressons, or whatever. What are their names?
Oh, jeez.
And it blows me away. It's like, I would love to get paid how much they're getting paid to say the stupidest shit. Like, Donald Trump's red tie is clearly a sign of racial hate. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, is like, they say stuff like that, and it's like, I couldn't be that stupid of a human being online and then go throughout my normal day and not be like, oh, these fucking people are dumb as hell.
Did they actually comment on his tie?
No, I wouldn't put it past if they did. They make
because I made a joke. that in the Bay Area they comment on the racism of the color of somebody's shoelaces. But so it's like that's how far out I don't know if you've seen the story that there was a racial slur on a receipt at a restaurant, Mexican restaurant owned by an Asian lady who typed the N-word on a receipt, and it was the worst. Oh, I'm so taken aback.
I've never seen this in my life, right? This is what they do. This is Brian Crastenson. He's a little 5'5" twin, and I want to punch him in the face, because that's what it is. It brings out that side of me. It's like, dude, you're disingenuous, you're a liar, you're an instigator, but this is the game, and they're just playing it. So he puts a picture of Trump up at a gravesite for, I guess yesterday was honoring, so I'll read the caption. Nothing says, quote, I genuinely care about the 13 servicemen who lost their lives 3 years ago in Afghanistan, then politicizing their deaths all day long and then giving them a thumbs up at their grave sites. So this is what he's doing. This is the gaslighting, which I never I mean, it's been around forever, but now we have a term for it. They'll put this up there. Biden wasn't even at this event, but Trump goes, showing respect, and he's got his thumbs up, so clearly he's disrespecting them. This guy these twins are insane, but they're just playing the game, and they're paid to do this.
If you go through, I mean, I know of these people only because I think Tim Pool talks about them or whatever, but are they like, when you look through the comments, because I know when I look through the comments on some of the local Bay Area news Twitter accounts or Instagram accounts, you could see in the Bay Area, we're not talking about rural parts of Texas or Kansas or whatever. We're talking about Bay Area, California people, hundreds of comments that are calling out the nonsense. And I don't know if they're okay. Look, that top one. What does it say? This is disturbing
on so many levels. And who knows who this is? 87,000. This is the paid programming, right? And it works. This is why I legitimately think Kamala Harris is going to win, because you take a photo. This happens in real life all the time. And you know who it really happens to? Women, right? If you've ever watched The Psychology of Women, where there's nothing wrong with somebody and somebody's jealous of somebody else, so all of a sudden it's like, oh, look at her shoes. And then all the other women are like, oh yeah, oh God, her shoes. And they all hate this woman, right? So there's literally nothing wrong with this photo. She got the daughter or the wife doing the I love you sign in sign language. I'm surprised they didn't say it was the devil horns. And you got Trump standing there, thumbs up. And you have another account with 87.9 thousand followers saying this is disturbing on so many levels. What is? But you're going to get 87,000 people going, that's right, it is disturbing. That's how this shit spreads like wildfire. Just to give you an example really quick, I posted this the other day. Somebody flat out said something along the lines of something like if you vote, oh, here it is. If you are voting for Trump, this is from Sarah Ironside, 59,000 followers. If you are voting for Trump because you're worried about the economy, then you have no understanding about how the economy works. I said, okay, so please explain. I'm one of those people, and my vote will only go to the best candidate for our country. Instead of putting an insulting post about our ignorance, how about you explain to us and try to earn our vote and support? But they don't.
They never will. And did you see Nas? Like I like Nas. Like I grew up listening to Nas.
Oh, okay.
And he has come out. Look, we all know that the celebrity endorsements or whatever, but I don't feel like it was an endorsement. It was just like, he was literally just like, yo, you guys are crazy. I'm not voting for Kamala. Like, I would never. I don't know. He might even be a felon. I truly don't know. So he might not even be voting at all. But it's like, dude, people are snapping out of this. But to your point, I realize that this weird left-wing shillism, and obviously it happens on the right too, spreads like wildfire through these Twitter accounts. But I just don't think that's enough. And that's why this has nothing to, I truly don't believe that this is going to have anything to do with votes, right? Like it's not.
It's fear. It's fear. You've got people who, like, you listen to everything Kennedy's sister said. Yeah, he's going to take away our right to vote and our right to govern our own bodies. Literally, none of that will ever happen. Donald Trump could get elected tomorrow, go in and say, I am creating an executive order that's going to fucking have every woman have mandatory births. And there's no way that would ever happen, because individual states would say, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. You would still have members of his own party who go, it's not going to happen, dude. And to be honest, I think you would have the individual people like doctors and whatnot who would refuse to comply. So I don't know what she's talking about, but she's explaining or leveraging him to be like this leader of this extremist side. And no, it's fuel for emotionally undeveloped and immature people. And sadly, there's millions of them.
Yeah, and they certainly do prey on them. And I made the joke. I know it's a little bit insensitive, but when they had the paraplegic at the DNC, that's literally the target.
Yeah.
That is who they're hoping, quote unquote, votes for them in droves. And there was another thing, like there was a handful of left-wing pundits. Now I'm feeling like a hypocrite because I can't put my finger on exactly who it was, but I'm taking in so much information. And even the Washington Compost actually kind of calls out Kamala Harris on her housing. Oh, we're going to build all these housing and we're going to give people $25,000 and all this stuff. But more importantly, there was when Kamala, she proposed remember she said price gauging. It's like, lady, you don't even know what you're talking about. It's price gouging. But when she proposed,
she said price gauging.
She said price gauging. Yeah, I don't know if it was her very first, but an early, speech about some of her quote unquote policies. She literally said price gauging because she doesn't know what's going on. It comes from the top down. I don't know who's behind the curtain. But more importantly, there was somebody, some of these weirdo left-wing pundits, CNN, John Carl or something. I think it was John Carl. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. They're all really the same at this particular point in time. But they said when she proposes price controls, that's not going to pass Congress. So it's like, wait, so you're telling me that you are going to quote unquote vote for this lady who was proposing a policy position that literally nobody likes, and you're defending it by saying, well, it's not going to pass anyways. So you don't like it. So you don't want it. So obviously she's not the woman for the job, right? Well, how can you defend a policy position that she puts forward by saying it's not going to work anyway? So you're going to be fine.
I don't know, Doom. I don't know. We got to pay some bills, and then I want to ask you about about the future, what's going on. All right, kids, remember, this is Spreely Media. It's all things speak freely. It's free speech, right? In a day and age where you want to say what you want to say, but you're like, I don't know if I can because I'll get canceled. If you don't want to say it, then you send people the show, and I'll say it. Eric will say it. We'll all say it. Today's show sponsor also is Create Holistic Health and Wellness. Listen, you have the power to create your wellness. It all begins in the gut. Create Holistic. If you're tired of going around in circles on the fad diet merry-go-round, Create Holistic can help. Learn how to thrive instead of survive. With wellness coaching knowledge, the woman, Maureen, who this is her, she's got 20 years in this field. She can help you lose the unwanted weight that you've been trying to lose for years, yet still comes back to haunt you. She'll focus on healing instead of losing. When you focus on your healing, the weight will naturally come off. Autoimmune diseases can be healed naturally with the right foods and supplements. Listen, you don't need to count calories or eat fat or all day long, lose a few pounds. You will learn how to break old, unhealthy habits. Only you can create your wellness. Learn, let me empower you. Your journey begins here. When you go to this site, createholistic.com, that's look at her. Isn't she fucking hot too? Createholistic.com, createholistic.com. Maureen, she's giving you guys a 20-minute free phone consultation. 20 minutes. What are you going to do? You're going to scroll through your porn list again for 20 minutes? Yeah, it's going to take you an hour to find something you like and then whatever. All right, that's createholistic.com. Eric, one more time. You got an awesome book. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Yes, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued by myself, Eric Butler. You will not be disappointed. It's a conversation starter. It's a coffee table book, and it documents the early, maybe it's not early. Maybe it's like, I don't know. But it documents the Rona era of New York and everything that was going on while I couldn't go to work. I didn't set out to make a book, but that just happened. It only gets better with age. Please buy it. New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued by Eric Butler.
Good. All right, guys. Also, don't forget, I give a plug for this too. For those who want more police content, the review that I do every Tuesday and Thursday night here on Spreely TV at therantsofizzo.com. We do Cop Talk Live, changing cop culture. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. You can find it on other platforms, but watch it on Spreely and help us grow and support and share the love. Remember, I'm really damn opinionated, and I don't give a shit if you don't care about it. I just don't care. Shut your mouth. All right. I wanted to ask you, so now that Kennedy's endorsement, and
hang on.
Yeah.
Before I just wanted to say one more thing about Spreely, and this is happening in real time. Like this morning, I'm learning more about these old cases before my time in the 70s or whatever. And on ChatGPT, they say this content may violate our usage policies. Yep. So I put in a prompt. I wanted them to tell me about the story of Colleen Stan. I don't know if you know who that is.
No, I don't.
But it is a dark story. I will admit it is a very dark story. This lady was kidnapped and she was taken against her will, allegedly, for nearly 7 years. So I wanted to learn more about it on ChatGPT. It writes out several paragraphs for me, and then at the bottom, after it gives me the description, it says, this content may violate our usage policy. Their own content that they gave me could go against their policy. So
I've asked them to create stuff every now and then, and they're like, I think I asked Several times I've done it, and they give me that same warning. So I'm like, this is ridiculous, dude. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just had to say that because it's happening right now as we're talking about the free speech.
Yeah, there is none. Spreely does, and I got some more. There's information I have to find more about Spreely on this topic related to. With Kennedy now pulling out, well, the one thing that impressed me is he said they legitimately got the 1 million signatures to get on the ballot. For those who don't understand the importance of that, I'll give you a smaller scale, and then tell you how impressed I am with what he did, and how I do think that his campaign legitimately does make an impact on what's going to happen. So in Chicago, Cook County, to run for sheriff, you have to get on the ballot, and the way that it is there's only 2 established parties, Republican or Democrat, and if you're a third party, I don't know what's out there anymore, independent, libertarian, I don't know if Green Party.
Green Party, yeah.
You need to get 5% of the vote in order to be an established party. So that means, as a Republican candidate, when I first announced my bid, I had to get 3,282 signatures to get on the ballot. And I talk about this all the time. It's not that easy, because the opposite party will contest and go, up, that T doesn't match this guy's driver's license, how he signed it, kick it out. So you need probably 3 times that amount, okay? Your own party can also, which I found out, contest the signatures and get you knocked off, which is what they threatened me to. So when I decided, screw you guys, I'm not going to run as a Republican, I ran as an independent. Well, to run as an independent, because it's not an established party, it's 25,000 signatures. So that means you need 75 to 100,000 signatures. Now, you can only petition them at certain times. And signature collection began in late September, and I think you had like 5 or 6 weeks to get them. Cold, snowy, shitty, and you need volunteers to come out and get them, which you have to, people will say they'll support you all fucking day long when you run for office. When it comes to action, there were a handful of people who showed up. A handful of people actually did the work. So for him to say we got the 1 million signatures is unbelievably impressive. I was like, damn, that's something, because I had heard that Obama used that same tactic. That's how he got on the primary ticket, was he contested his challenger, who's also in the primary. He did that's the Chicago way. Oh, your signatures are shit. I'm gonna get you knocked off. But I want to know, like, seeing that that's legitimate, do you think that it helps Trump, or would it have hurt Trump? Or did Kennedy go to the first person who answered the phone? Because he admitted he went to Kamala Harris and they said no, they didn't want to take his call. So is it a good thing that he gives him support? And what do you think is going to happen with the Kennedy backing?
I do think it's a good thing, if for no other reason. There's loads of people out there. I always kind of get into my own bubble and think people, like, I kind of want to make content for somebody like me, or sell something to somebody like me, or whatever. But there's loads of people out there. And I think if nothing else, this will at least, for some people, we're seeing it already with that hugely viral video of the DNC volunteer girl, right? It's going big on TikTok and libs of TikTok and all that stuff. And she's like, whoa, these people are nuts. So I think this is good. I mean, this could be really good, right? If 50% of RFK Jr.'s voters side with Trump, then yes, that's good. But outside of that, it will still, I hope, perhaps, it doesn't even have to necessarily snap you out of it, but it has to make you think, wait a minute. Like, it has to make you think twice about it, right? Like, am I, we all remember the old clip, are we the baddies? You know what I mean? It has to make some people say, wait a minute, what's going on? Right? And they have to look a little bit deep. For me, it was many years ago with the individual mandate. I'm like, wait, what the hell are you guys doing? Now, I wasn't hugely political at that time, or even shortly after, but I remember thinking, hang on, this doesn't make sense. I wasn't paying attention before, but now I am. The way that he's talking about the Democratic Party, the way that they're cutting him off, all of that stuff. So I think, look, and I truly don't know, but obviously this is my opinion. anybody like under 60 has to like think twice about this. If you're a little bit older and you're stuck in your ways, your heels are dug in, like, you know, I was sad to say my dad, no, I mean, he could, they don't even care that the whole switcheroo, right? Remember when Gavin Newsom made the joke, like, oh yeah, the switch, I've been told to say that we did, you know what I mean? It's all really weird. But I think if nothing else, this will help people to at least think twice about it. So maybe it's not this time. Maybe they're going to sit this one out. But next cycle, they'll have to be like, wait a minute. I remember when it happened to Bernie. They rug pulled Bernie. So I think that all in all, this is a good takeaway. And if not, hopefully, I would love for 100% of RFK voters to vote for Donald Trump. But barring that, you have to think a little bit longer and harder about it. You see all these rappers, you see Waka Flocka, right? I mean, you see Snoop Dogg even. You see Patrick Mahomes' wife. The walls are closing in on you at every angle that you don't have to hop on board the Trump train, but you should think about it a tiny bit. And if you don't, then you're completely brain dead, and that's what the Democratic Party wants.
They're massively character attacks, too. They can't tell you one thing that, and it just it comes back down to the American voter is a stupid human being. I got pissed off last night because I know it's about a week old or two so far, but the 27 million that Biden's family has gotten. I don't know if you heard about this, and the Republicans knew this and they were forming it. No one's talking about it. No one's talking about it. And I'm like, you know what? And I'm being a hypocrite because I'm not going to do anything about it. But I put up last night, I'm like, Trump is what potentially, if he gets sentenced, he could potentially go to jail for what, $100,000 or something in misappropriation of campaign funds. But Biden's potentially illegally gets 27 million. An abuse. If it's an impeachable offense, it should be a criminal offense, and nothing's going to happen. And honestly, correct. I think the American people on both sides, they should be fucking rioting, not protesting. I'm talking burning shit to the fucking ground because this is allowed to happen. Voting doesn't work. Protesting does not work. I watch these other foreign countries with the people that are taking to the streets and they're causing some serious damage. That our American government needs to be terrified of us. But because we're so easily fed bullshit, we believe into it, it's all character attacks that their side does. I put up a post the other day about one of my favorite movies, The American President. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Michael Douglas, Annette Bening. It is. Oh, wait,
I think, did you play that clip last week?
I did. Well, so there's another clip from it where they talk about it's the Republicans who do the character attack because they wanted to, the first time that Andrew Shepard's character, played by Michael Douglas, he ran as a widower. His wife had died during the campaign, so they couldn't publicly attack him because polling said that it wasn't favorable for them. But Bob Rumson's character is played by Richard Dreyfuss, who, I mean, he looks just like Dick Cheney. He's all excited because they can this time because the president is dating Sidney Ellen Wade, an environmental activist. So they're going to attack his character. And I'm like, that's what the liberals do. But again, it was Rob Reiner who directed that film. And it's like, dude, you're giving your playbook and you're blaming it on Republicans when this is exactly what you guys do. Kamala Harris never talks about an issue. No interview, and everybody's backing her up. She doesn't need to interview anybody. She doesn't answer to you. Yeah, she does. She's our employee right now, currently. So it's disgusting and it's disingenuous. And I don't know if American people will step back and go, all right, with RFK going to Trump and again, his speech was superb. It was superb. It got my attention. I don't know if it's going to do for other people. I just don't know.
But look how much they weaponize. So people, I truly don't think, and maybe we differ, have a difference of opinion on this, but I truly don't think people are quite as stupid as you. And even like a handful of my buddies are like, yo, this is crazy. Like they're reluctantly pretending or predicting that Kamala's going to win because people are stupid. And I just don't think people are quite as stupid as, again, the media works in two ways. It can brainwash stupid people and it can trick rational people into believing that they're in this tiny, slim minority. And is right. But I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's quite as bad as everybody thinks it is. And the media is working hard to make you think it is. But all that aside, a little bit of whataboutism, as they say, and I'm sure this is happening all over the place. Both parties or 3 parties or 4 parties or whatever. But if you want to talk about the Biden crime family and these weirdo Democrats, right? You see that viral image of Michelle Obama saying some people need to take less so other people can have more.
Dude, how much is she worth?
I don't know, $15 billion, whatever.
$70 billion. $70 million. How much is Oprah worth?
$3 billion.
Mm-hmm. And don't forget, Oprah and Trump were very close friends. That's why it's a game, dude. It's a fucking game, and it's disgusting. And us peasants we're in the background. Like, it's like I was watching Keanu Reeves today.
So what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to go to Harvard. You're supposed to go to Harvard. You're supposed to go up on the hill and try to weasel your way in and get a job. And what are you supposed to do?
I don't know, because they make their problems relatable to us as if their problems represent us and vice versa. I'm watching Keanu Reeves today talk about, when he feels stressed about something, he just sits with it and he meditates it and he takes his time, or he hops on a motorcycle and he evaluates it. And I'm going, can the average man who's got to work all day do that? Who comes home to a nagging wife and screaming kids? Can he just stop and jump on? It's like, these are problems because you're a multimillionaire who works 3 months out of the year, maybe every other 2 years. It's like, dude. The same thing with these politicians. They are, when you really look at it, this is what kills me about the black representation. Do Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama and even Barack Obama, do they visually, do how they look and how they speak represent a majority of urban city black America?
Absolutely not.
Then where's the representatives that are going to be up there talking in that language that you can't understand unless you're part of that culture, dressing in the oversized clothes, sagging pants, gold teeth, dreads, the culture. Where is the legitimate culture? You don't see a representation for that. And there's nothing wrong with that culture. It's just, that's culture. That's the dress. That's the language. That's the look. It's not the same as what they have, what Joe Biden said. He said the quiet part out loud when Obama originally ran. We got a well-spoken, clean, articulate black man. He wasn't kidding. So how do they represent America?
Well, they obviously don't. And the closest thing they have now is Kamala. So you're just supposed to wear it. But maybe not more importantly, but bro, without understanding all the politicians in the country, obviously, think about it, bro. In Oakland, California, Mayor Shang Tao, she's the first Vietnamese mayor. It's gone to complete hell by any measure. This is worldwide news. Everybody knows how terrible Oakland is. Right up there with Chicago, maybe worse, maybe better. I don't know. But she gets raided by the feds. We talk about it for 48 hours, goes away. We never hear about it again. Mayor London Breed out in San Francisco, she paid $23,000 in ethics violations fines, which of course is the tip of the iceberg. If she admits to committing $23,000 worth of ethical violations, what has she really done? Now, the biggest thing is that she tried to get her brother out from under a manslaughter charge, which was pleaded down. Of course, it was murder when he tried to rob somebody in 1999. Then you have scumbag, greaseball, banger wife, Governor Gavin Newsom, who slept with his best friend's wife, went to the French Laundry. You have Mayor Eric Adams, also raided by the feds. You have his closest fundraiser raided by the feds. You have Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin, who came up under Kathy Hochul, and in a matter of months after she replaced Cuomo, who stepped down, he was taken down by the feds. And of course, before Cuomo, you had Elliot Spitzer, who was tied up in a weirdo high-end hooker ring. So the corruption is all over the place, but you should obey. And there's another story recently out of New York where the city is begging residents to break down their boxes. Bro, it's the literal baby meal. It is an illegal immigrant baby meal in Midtown Manhattan, and they're talking about you should break down your boxes. I mean, this is through the roof.
Because they think that you you can relate to them, and they can relate to you, and that's the it's Creston's the twin idiots. They put up a picture. They put up a video of some white baby running to Kamala. See, they're so relatable. That Tim Waltz guy, dude, he's dangerous. He's dangerous. I can fucking spot a scumbag. That guy is dangerous, but he's relatable.
Is he though?
No, fucking not even close.
And we've all seen the clips. We've all seen the clips of him doing his weirdo Richard Simmons impersonation, where he comes out, he's all, floppy and wailing around and waving. It's like, dude, what? You look like Richard Simmons, or like a Price is Right contestant, like screaming as he comes out, and it's like, bro, that's obviously a superficial, like, ad hominem attack on his weirdo personality traits. But I can only imagine. I mean, Minnesota? Come on, bro. Like, that was ground zero for the, manufactured race war in 2020. So who else would she pick? Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, well, yeah, our whole thing in 2020 was to just tell everybody they're racist if they don't bow to a weirdo George Floyd, who may or may not have been on fentanyl, and Candace Owens is doing her thing. But who would be better, right? I don't know why she didn't pick Gavin Newsom. Probably because California is just, no matter how hard they try, is truly not popular, which is why Gavin Newsom is trying to clean up right now. I'm going to put my Levi's on and a t-shirt and pick up trash for a couple cameras. And it's like, dude, you guys have ruined everything. And I'm sorry, because I've just been looking at, I am so deep into the Bay Area news, even though I'm not there anymore. And they have people protesting the cleanup, right? So no, you can't clean this up, even though it's the same people that told you to be okay with these weirdo dope fiends festering under the bridge. That was all okay. Now they want to clean it up. The very same people, but you don't want to do it, right? You don't want them to do it, even though I'm just losing my mind right now. And this propaganda is through the roof. I look at the Washington Post and CNN and whatever, Politico, all these things, and they just, bro, they're not writing up cute little captions under the picture. They're literally just posting propagandistic photos of Kamala Harris with her head up and this upward angle and
they created
background behind her. Yes,
the cover of Time magazine. That's why I said it's the fucking Stanley Cup effect. It's marketing. It's Cabbage Patch Kids. They're going to win this because they're painting out to Barack Obama, a freshman fucking senator from Illinois. But how did he win the presidency? Marketing. And the guy could read a teleprompter better than anyone in history. That man is, if Barack Obama was never political, he should have been the what's his name that everyone loves, Morgan Freeman. Move over Morgan Freeman and have Barack Obama narrate everything. Every audio book in the history of man should have been read by him. He's that damn good. But how did he win? Because they told you he needs to win. He's the best thing ever. You need Kamala Harris.
Facebook president.
You need Kamala Harris. Same thing.
But I truly don't know, right? Because I spend so much time looking at this stuff, even and I realize that YouTube is not the end all be all, but think about the crazy left wing bias that YouTube is pumping towards everybody. But when I go to the mainstream media YouTube accounts, they have a fraction of the followers of quote unquote right wing independent creators, right? So how is this possible? When you look at the comments, same thing on Instagram and Twitter. On Shang Tao, on Oakland Mayor Shang Tao's Instagram and Twitter accounts, there's hundreds of comments calling her out every single time. So people can truly see through this. How do you have you are the powers that be, you are part of the regime or the machine or whatever, but how does your YouTube account have, okay, how about this? At its most base level, and this was a couple weeks ago, so maybe it changed, but the GOP had twice the subscribers of the DNC on YouTube, twice. So where is the disconnect? That's because it's not, yes, people are getting brainwashed, but that's not enough people.
No.
So you can brainwash some of them, but the rest has to come from stone cold cheating in a completely separate fashion.
I don't even, right after Biden was elected, the YouTube channel for the White House YouTube channel turned off their comments.
Yes, and that prompted. We all remember this. I was in South Dakota.
The dislike button.
The dislike button. Yep.
They were getting an unbelievable disproportionate number of people who were disliking the video. It would be like 1,000 likes, 21,000 dislikes. It was amazing. Next thing you know, comments are off, and which kind of showed you that maybe TikTok or social media wasn't as liberal as everybody thought it was.
Yes.
And how is that not a crime? Because I know that like government agencies or government agencies and political figures apparently are not allowed to censor people's comments when they comment on the stuff. So if I go on to somebody's page and say, I hate you, and they're political, they can't delete it. So how to come away?
Don't they have to be like an actual politician?
I don't know.
Hold office. I don't know the exact rules on that, but it's very similar to when I look at KTVU is the huge, Bay Area Fox News affiliate, like KTVU, Fox 2 News. I've been watching that since I was a kid. And they have a lot of people being critical, a handful of people like, yay, we love the LGBTQs or whatever. But then when they really go hard and they post like something about, and you can look on there or whatever, something about like, this transgender children, or like some parade or something they're promoting, they will turn the comments off. So on most posts, they have, a 75-25 critical to supportive comment rate. And then when they really go for it, when they get the message from up on high and say, you need to post this about, Transformer kids, they will turn the comments off because they know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was I was watching a video about all of the crime in Oakland. This was just a day or two ago. This was very recently when they had a community meeting about combating the crime, and the chief of police, who, of course, Oakland went more than a year without a chief of police because the last one, and they're both black for the record, but the last one was involved in police misconduct. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but it was obviously, circling the drain, about to go down. So they put somebody else in. He comes out to the community meeting, this new police chief, and says, I'm not joking. He says, well, you may not believe me or you may shake your head, but crime is actually down 20%. And it's like, he knows. He got the message from on high. And he knows in his own head that the crime is not really down. And if it is, why is the crime down? Because 911 doesn't even work, bro. I'm absolutely losing my mind. I'm sorry. This is just the propaganda is just, it's obvious. It's always been bad. It's always been bad. It got ramped up, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And right now, this is it. This is the last couple weeks, last couple months. And then it's just bizarre.
You've talked about it. Like you're paying attention more to politics now than you really have before. Isn't it because you're forced to?
Yeah.
Like yeah. I think about it every now and then. It pops in my head. I have never seen this country so divided. Never. Growing up.
Oh no, it is storm. It just got dark outside, and now it's storming. Sorry,
see, that's because they heard you, and they're gonna fucking come after you. My mother was a Democrat until Barack Obama, and my father's always been a Republican. They never argued at the kitchen table. Never. It was never. Yeah. Now we have people who don't talk to each other because of their political views.
Yep, exactly. And I think I've said this before. Back when I was in college, I went to college in San Francisco, and there used to be people with completely opposite political views that would play Halo and play poker together, and it just wasn't that big of a deal. It was like, oh, whatever. Then you just move on. But now you have to, and I do it because I come from arguably some of the worst places in the country. I don't know. You could talk about St. Louis or even Chicago or whatever, but Oakland and New York. I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. I wasn't, binging Fox News and Jesse Waters and Tucker Carlson years ago. I was what the hell is going on here?
Nope, not at all. I used Jon Stewart was maybe who I watched back then when he first started. I don't even remember what network it is. I don't think it was Comedy Central or something else. But I mean, that was it. So, and I was far more liberal then, and my ideologies. Like I've said this a million times, I think free healthcare is a great idea. I think free education is a great idea. Who's going to pay for it? Yeah, because it makes absolutely no sense like that. Then I also know the value of free. When you give something to somebody free, there's absolutely no appreciation for it whatsoever. So yeah, it is like the utopia that the Democrats constantly say that we need everybody being non-racist and everybody being this. Let me tell you something. Every utopian movie and this and that has one asshole who just does not want to get along like everybody else does because it's deep-seated in themselves, and they create the faction that wants to destroy it all. You cannot change human behavior to full equity, full equality, full. We're all going to end up in the same place. Maybe I don't want to fucking end up in the same place. You look at the homeless population of Chicago. Some of them, you can offer them a gorgeous room at the Hyatt, J.B. Pritzker's hotel, all this shit. They don't want to go. They don't want to go, dude. So it's fucked up. I don't know what's going to happen, but all I know is I've never seen it this divided. And I know damn well that it's going to get a whole hell of a lot worse. And that's it.
Yeah, I think the division is 100% from the media.
Yeah. Eric, what are we going to do, man? Who's going to win in November?
Well, I'm keeping the glass half full, bro. This is a silver lining, and I think we've hit the wall. We're going back, and it's going to be Trump 24. Or we could go Kanye.
Oh, Kanye 2020. Shit. Don't forget to check out Report and Opine on all social media platforms. Eric Butler joins me on Tuesdays. Sometimes we take Tuesdays off because I'm a great nephew and I take my aunt to the doctor. New York 2020, Gotham Unglued. Where can people find that?
Yes, sir. New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued. Easiest place to get it is on Amazon.com. It's on a couple other book retailers if you're really opposed to them. But it's cheap. I don't control the prices, obviously. It goes up, it goes down. You should buy it, and it is going to live on your coffee table forever. You're going to love it.
There you go, guys. It is Tuesday. Have a great damn day. Remember, it's hot as balls out here in the Chicago area. I want to push the wrong button. Stay the hell indoors. I'm not even smoking a cigar today. That's how hot it is. I mean, I'll smoke one later on. Cop Talk Live tonight on Spreely Media, the rants of Izzo.com. 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Going to be reviewing some police footage and offering some value opinion that's opinionated, and it's very opinionated. Have an awesome day today. Go do something for somebody today. Help them out, and if you can't help them, just do not hurt them. See you guys tomorrow.